So billionaires are upset. They might actually have to pay some taxes like the rest of us. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. If you share my concerns, maybe you could like this video and subscribe to this channel, maybe even click that little bell that will notify you when I post something new. So Elon Musk, perhaps America's biggest hypocrite, is all outraged over the fact that he might have a big tax bill to pay. Elon Musk, of course, is perhaps America's richest person at this point. In one day, Elon Musk's value increased by $36 billion just on the news that Hertz was going to buy some cars from Tesla. Musk, of course, is famous for attacking the stimulus bill at the same time that his company was receiving big dividends from the stimulus bill to help it survive the COVID crisis. All this, of course, while Tesla was worth $270 billion. That money essentially was taken out of the pockets of small mom-and-pop businesses that really needed it. But then, of course, Musk turned around and attacked any efforts to help anybody other than himself. He also loves to claim that he's a libertarian who doesn't believe in government support, and proudly claims to being a self-made man. And yet, as articles that I'll link to down below show, Tesla would have gone bankrupt had it not been for government subsidies and government programs. In fact, during the Obama administration, he received a $465 million bailout. And SpaceX, of course, is solvent as a result of a $2.9 billion contract with NASA. So again, Elon Musk, who in 2018 paid zero in income taxes, is now complaining about the fact that he might actually have to contribute something to the greater good. He's happy to let everyone else support him. He just doesn't want to have to support anyone else. And that's the untold story of these libertarians and Republicans. I mean, the truth of the matter is, while everyone else has been suffering as a result of the coronavirus, the wealth of the billionaires has increased dramatically. More than 70% between March 18th, 2020 and October 15th, 2020. The total wealth of American billionaires went from $2.9 trillion to $5 trillion. And in fact, during that period, just 6 wealthy Americans, who include Bezos, Zuckerberg, Gates, and of course Musk, saw their wealth increase more than 125% from $400 billion to $896 billion. While these billionaires have been getting all this wealth, they've paid an average tax rate of just 3.4%. Contrast that with the average American who pays almost 30% of their income in taxes. Now, what I love is Elon Musk's tweet saying that average Americans should oppose this tax because after they come for him, they're going to come for everyone else. Well, the reality is they're already coming for us. We're already all paying. He's the one who's not paying anything in terms of what needs to be paid. The irony is that the discussion about this tax at all arose because of the fact that Kyrsten Sinema was unwilling to raise the individual income tax rates. Wealth taxes are something that many progressives, myself included, and senators like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren have been pushing for some time, are something that were off the table with the Biden administration, but now are on the table because it appears that this might be the only way that we can get some way to fund the families program. This tax, which would fall on as few as 270 people in the United States, 270 people in the entire country, certainly less than 1,000, could raise as much as $200 billion in the first year. It just gives you a sense of how much these billionaires have been getting away with and how little they contribute to the common good. And again, the things that have made Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos billionaires are often things that were funded by our tax dollars. So it's time for them to start contributing. How is this possible? Well, the issue has to do with capital gains. Most of the wealth of these billionaires is held in stock in their companies. So basically, Elon Musk starts Tesla. He owns a lot of stock in it. He sells off some of that stock to investors, but keeps a good chunk of it for himself. And once the company goes public and ultimately becomes more valuable, the value of his stock goes up. So in other words, his wealth, and this is the same case for the wealth of people like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett, their wealth is entirely based upon the increase in the value of the stock that they own in the companies that they helped found. Now, they're founding these companies as a wonderful thing, and they should become rich for it. But at a certain point here, they also need to contribute back to society, because as I've pointed out, all of them have benefited from the society that the taxes the rest of us have paid has created. And many of them, including Elon Musk, have benefited directly from investments from the taxpayers in their businesses. Trust me when I tell you that this billionaires tax that we're talking about will not impoverish people like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. So the problem arises in that these increases in the value of assets are only taxed when someone sells them. So when someone sells it on the open market, they get income that comes from that, and that's taxed at a capital gains rate, which actually is lower than the income tax rate, but that's a separate matter for discussion. Now, the problem is that many of these billionaires just hold on to their shares and often pass it down to their heirs. Look at the Walmart family, for example. So ultimately, this wealth basically never gets taxed. Now, what the Democratic plan proposes is that if a billionaire earns more than $100 million in increased value over a 3-year period, they have to pay a tax on the increased value of their assets. So the truth of the matter is, they will get a big tax bill the first year, because for most of these billionaires, they've never been taxed on any of their holdings. Poor billionaires. Now, they're going to claim, of course, that this wealth is simply paper wealth because it's not actual income that they receive into their bank accounts like you or I get. However, when you're talking the kind of stock value that these billionaires have, what they do is that they borrow against it. They're able to go to banks and at a very low interest rate, sometimes as low as 1%, borrow money based upon the value of their stocks. That money is non-taxable. So they are able to access cash and get real money without ever having to touch the actual basis for their wealth. And that is how they get away with living these incredibly luxurious lives without really ever having to pay any taxes. Given how much these billionaires have prospered, I, for one, think it's about time they start contributing. Well, if you agree with me or disagree with me, I'd love to see your comments down below. And if you could leave a like and maybe subscribe to this channel, that'd be a huge help. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.